Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. We want to wish you happy Halloween. I'm your host Ray.
And I'm Evy.
Sorry, Evy. What are we watching today?
Halloween Kills.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, like, of course, Mike Myers again.
Mm-hmm.
Still around killing, which was all right. More killing. Other people. Too much blood. I felt it was to a point, right? Anyway, yeah, it was all right. I can't complain. The end, though, was, the end was pretty good. I was shocked at the end because I didn't expect Mike Myers for what happens. It was okay. I thought it was the end, but it wasn't.
So what was the point of this film?
It was a point of the movies is that somebody got blamed for all the killing in this movie. Sorry, that's all I'll say. It was well done. And what's her name? Who was the main character? The woman? I forget.
Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode. Yeah. It was all right.
I decided to read the novelization from Tim Waggoner, and I'm glad I did because I would be on the same page as everyone else, because how you interpret this film, it is a time filler until you get to the ending, and that's the consensus I get from fans, people who I've spoken to who've seen this film, critics that I've respected who've seen this film. It's not a horribly constructed film. The film is shot well, and the sequences are shot competently. So anything I'm going to say is not necessarily negative. It's just the structure of this movie is just feels like a layover until you get to the ending, until you get to how, and that is the consensus of the general critique of this movie. I know in Rotten Tomatoes this is like bordering on 30%, something like that. So, and it's because of nothing is gained or nothing is learned to an extent. So when I read the novelization, I'll get into that. The first third, if you divide the book into thirds, the first third is basically the cold open of this movie. You have Lonnie and you have Cameron. Cameron is the son of Lonnie. Lonnie was a little boy who in 1978 met Michael Myers, and then as he was going to his house and never killed him. He was just a little boy that kind of cowered on the floor as the boogeyman came close to him. So he's one of the people who survived the night in 78 as a grown-up Michael Myers, then doing his first killing as an adult, and before we fast forward to 2018. So in the novelization, the first third, basically like the first 8 chapters, is the opening. It's just the opening sequence of the movie, which is surprising how much we went into it. I mean, and the reason why they have it is to explain like why the kids were there fighting with this kid in Halloween, and who the kids are and what the relationship is, and how Will Patton's character, Officer Hawkins, what he did back then and how Mike Myers got up. And they have a really cool like Flash. Donald Pleasance, who plays Loomis, is seen in this movie, so it's nice to have some recall to the original film. Okay, so the novelization it works for me because you kind of understand who was doing what was really going on at the time. So stuff that you can't say in a movie, or how they were feeling, why they were doing this, getting the motivations. The novelization really gets into Tommy Doyle, which is Anthony Michael Hall. Weird science. I always think of weird science, and anyways, understanding like why, like he's the boy that's Laurie Strode protected from Michael Myers, a little boy from that night in 78. He's growing up, so he has trauma. He has anger issues, a lot of anger issues. That anger issues is more expressed more in the book. They talk about him being able to whistle like bird noises or sounds. They discuss that a little bit, like how he can like whistle and call people that as a signal. The stuff that you may not pick up on that's important, you get in the film. But the thing is, what they touch upon in the movie is really fleshed out in the novelization. That being said, I'm not recommending the reading of the novelization because you're not going to get anything new from it other than understanding inmate that escapes with Michael Myers, what he was really going through at the time, why they think he's Michael Myers is because they look at the picture of Michael and you look at the picture of this guy, and you're like, oh no, this is clearly Michael Myers, right? They wouldn't like because no one's seen Michael without a mask on, so they can't tell the difference, right? So that's how this poor guy was being chased down, and the theme of it is being Evil Dies Tonight and trying to like, it's about the mob mentality. I don't know if it's a reflection of like January 6th, the rioting and the capitals, but when you have like a sickness, a ongoing like problem, and you're getting a crowd mentality to help you attack it because of frustration for whatever external reasons that's going on. You can relate it to this movie, and I don't know if that's what David Gordon Green, who directed this movie, and Danny McBride and Scott Green, these are the writers. They wrote all three. They wrote the entire trilogy. So I don't know how much if there's any outside influences, but I think they are infused some of that into the movie. When you watch this, Evie, so the doctor in the first movie is what set the whole thing in motion, right? He's the one that went. This week gives away. So the doctor, Michael's first original doctor was the one who wanted to have Laurie Strode and Michael meet. He wants to see a shark, like a killer, in his environment. Now that's not realistic. I mean, you don't. I mean, that's not morally sound. But from a person who studies psychology, is it better to understand? Is it better for you? Would it be better for you to see the patient, even if it has negative implications? Is it better to understand the patient in his environment? Is that an easier way to figure something out, or is it just therapy and discussion and try to figure something out to diffuse it?
Well, you could look at the patient, see how he feels or whatever, and then you could doctor himself with other doctors just to understand like what they want, so that because you can't know with somebody unless you understand them, because if you don't understand them, what's the reason for doing it? You got to understand them and then figure out like the doctor himself or herself. So yeah, I think that you have to understand like the patient themselves.
That's a good question. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, else what?
No, or else you miss the whole point. If you don't understand the patient, because then why do it? That's like stabbing somebody. You've got to understand, like the doctor, so then you know what happened to them, and that's easy without guessing, which is what the doctors themselves. Anyway, it's this, that, know this, know that, help the patient or not, or not understand like the patient, and that would be useless unless you understand why he's there, So it was all right. It was an all right movie. I didn't mind it.
Yeah. The theme, actually, because it just brought my attention, the theme that they are pursuing, I'm noticing that now is the perception, is the eye, is the human eye. Okay, in the 78 movie, yes, Laurie stabs him in the eye. So when you look at him now, he's only like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, they only have one eye that actually works. But when you in the 1978 movie, when he's a child, in the 60s, I think it was 63 or whatever it was, before he became the adult killer, we saw him kill his sister through his eyes with the mask on. So the entire sequence, and I think it's the first time, I think, in cinematic history, or it hasn't been done very often, where we're seeing the killings done from his perspective, both eyes, looking at his sister as he's stabbing her and killing her. You know, you don't get that in Psycho. You don't get that in necessarily in like Jason movies or whatever. It's like literally from the time he picks up the knife, the time he goes up the stairs and goes to his sister, unsuspecting, and slaughters her. It's all through his perspective. It's through his lens, literally. You know, and then we come out and we see the child. Now with this movie, and it's all because you did mention it. You have to understand that you have to understand his perspective is that we learn that he's obsessed. He always comes home and he's obsessed for looking out the window where he killed his sister. And we're wondering, like, what is he seeing? There's something that he is seeing. Is it the reflection of himself in the mirror, or is there something he's not that makes him come back to it every single time? Whether it's 38 years or whatever years later, he comes back to see something. And I don't know. My guess is that we're going to find out what it is when we get to the finale. Because then, if we learn something from all of this, like there's actual method behind the madness, it would be a great reward, like a great understanding of this character. Because if not, it's a MacGuffin, and hopefully it's not. But I'm walking away, or I get to walk away with something that's like, oh, there's something there that we're not seeing. There's something he has to look through or see, whether it's to satisfy him or to calm him or whatever. I mean, I don't know. That's fascinating. Also, the fact that without the mask, he's docile. Like he can get hurt, he can feel pain, but when he's the shape, which is what you call him, and after he kills, he becomes more than just a man. Like he actually, you can shoot him, you can stab him, you can beat him up with a bat, but he will get up and he will slaughter each and every one of you because he is, the pain is nothing. It's just there, and he will move forward and come after you. That's explained in the novelization a little bit more clearly, but we see it very textilely or very adamantly in the movie too. And what makes him a monster, because one of the things that Loomis says in the beginning in the flashbacks, did he kill? Did Michael kill? And he didn't kill the cop. He didn't shoot the cop, you know. So like it, you know, so like when he kills, does he actually transcends to the next level? Does he become a super monster? Like, does that make him supernaturally embedded or something? Did he make a deal with the devil? Like, what are the things that are making him what he is? They say he's the boogeyman, though they call him the shape. Like, what does that mean contextually and psychologically? You know? So these are the things that I find interesting. And then, so if for anything else this movie does, it helps explore the psychological parameters of this character and understanding, okay, so this is what, and this is where we're going. Because if it doesn't set up, if it doesn't explain what it's setting up, part 3 will fail tremendously. After giving a whole movie, an entire film dedicated to understanding or getting a direction of a killer that has no plot. He's a white shark, great white shark, who has no, like, because we learned that it's not personal. Like, he's not looking for Lori. Like, the doctor sent him to see what happens. Like, all he wants to do is head home. And so what does that mean? So I find that very interesting. I just don't know what it means yet. So that puzzle box is intriguing. If they don't have an answer to the puzzle box, the movie is going to fail for me in a very large way. Though for the audiences, everyone wants to see Laurie Strode, the Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and the Michael Myers really get it on. They want the fight of the century. Next, the best thing since Godzilla and King Kong. You want to see these two people go at it. It's 40 years in the making of, like, anger pent up, who are going to, like, basically going at it. You know, like, it's like Sarah Connor's in a Terminator. You want to see this mano a mano, like, you know, death match of psychology as well as, like, cunning and just a killing machine, which is the payoff. Any ideas from you?
Why the actions of the killer does what he does, you know, because there has to be a reason why he does, and that makes the film understandable. I think, like, why watch it if you don't understand it, or if you do understand it, the movie will tell you why if you can figure that out. So that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Well, on that, happy Halloween. We'll be reviewing Halloween Ends next Halloween, but so it's a year away from it for us, but it's already been out. So on that note, I'm Ray.
I'm Evy.
We'll see you next week. Take care.